Welcome back to the BME Podcast, the best sports podcast in New Jersey. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. Let us know, man. Leave a comment, 5-star rating review. We trying to be here for a good time and a long time. Fellas, how y'all doing tonight?
Doing good.
Yes, sir, bro. I'm doing well. Getting ready. Looking forward to getting started. A lot to talk about.
Hey, man, I want to start off with here, right? Kyler Murray. We talked about it all last season. Is he still a top quarterback? Is he the franchise quarterback for the Cardinals? With how the season went for them, are they going to draft a quarterback? Well, we pretty much got our answer now. He will be officially waived next week by the Arizona Cardinals free market. And there's multiple teams out here that need a quarterback. There are teams that are in the draft in position to get a quarterback. I wonder how this alters things for the landscape and the market in general. Who do y'all think are the best possible suitors or should be trying to get Kyler Murray into their building to be their quarterback for next season?
I mean, you got to think like one of the top teams is Minnesota. Like that team won 8 games last year, 9 games, with 9 throwing the ball, and we already know he's not a good quarterback. So, I mean, we saw what happened with Sam Darnold the year before. They won 14 games. This is a good team, and they're well coached. You figure if you get decent QB play, like I don't think anybody's saying Kyler Murray's a top 10, 15 quarterback. If he slots in at between 15 and 20, I mean, you'll probably win 11 games with the way KOC coaches over there. I don't really see the Jets making a move like that. But again, you have a vet minimum guy coming in. Like you're not going to have to pay him $30 million this year because the Cardinals are already on the hook for about $35 million. So any team that signs him, they're going to be able to pay him a lot less and kind of build around that for a year or two and see what you got with him. Like he's still young. He was good at one point. Maybe it's like 3 years removed from the last time he was really solid. I'd even say 2 years ago he was pretty solid. But I don't think anybody's looking at Kyler Murray as a game changer. Like there's talent there, and I'm curious if a team if he wants to gamble and sit for a year, almost take a redshirt year somewhere good, like sit behind Stafford and use this year to almost be the successor for that Rams team, and you go to a good offense and play for a good coach.
No, I mean, I think Miles hit the nail on the head. I think Minnesota would be a great place for him. I think there are a lot of teams that should be interested, though. And I think there will be a lot of teams that are interested because of the price tag at $1.3 million. You're not taking on a whole lot of risk bringing him onto your team. I can think, I think the Steelers, I know they're looking at a reunion with Aaron Rodgers. I guess is the most appetizing thing in the world. I'm not looking at it that way. I think they should definitely knock on Kyler's door and try to have a conversation about him playing for them next year for the minimum, right? Again, for the minimum. They're a team. I think the Texans are a sneaky, quiet team right there that you might want to have that conversation as insurance for CJ Stroud in case he goes out there and doesn't play well and plays more like that guy in the meme of him than himself. You might want to have that conversation and see if he's available to and wants to, come down there and compete for the job. I don't think they'll do that yet, but because they have Davis Mills, I forgot about Davis Mills. I think he's still probably on the contract there. But you never know. You can't rule anything out. But there, a lot of quarterback hungry teams out there. The Browns, obviously, they have Shador, they have Deshaun Watson, they have Dylan Gabriel, they have a logjam at quarterback. I don't think he's likely to go there, but he could win that job outright. Right? I think the Falcons are an obvious suitor. I know, Miles put that in the chat. He's absolutely right. With Michael Penix Jr. not being healthy for starters, and also when he's playing, I think you guys the reel of his 20 plus yard throws from last year and how many throws he missed and how bad it was. How bad that tape is worse than I even thought it was. Just looking at the numbers, I mean, he was horrific throwing the ball down the field, which was supposed to be a strength of his coming out of college. So you got to start to prepare yourself for the reality that you may have missed. And there's a new GM there. He doesn't owe Michael Penix anything. And so I think they're going to be looking at all their options as well. So I think that'll be a conversation that they'll have over there as well. And so we'll see how that goes. I know we saw the Saints as well as an option too, but I think they're going to give the kid a real chance over there. The Tyler Shuck, they'll give him a real chance. But I certainly think there are plenty of teams. There are probably teams here that we're not really considering. There's a ton of teams that have quarterback issues across the NFL as well. And at that figure, you got to think that there are 25 teams at a minimum that'll be reaching out to him just in interest, just to kind of get him in the building to light a fire under the current starter or whatever the situation may be, because there just aren't enough great quarterbacks across the league. So those are some of them, but again, he'll have suitors across the NFL. And there's some people who don't believe that he's that bad, like Mike Jones. So we'll see.
Fair point.
Hey, free agency is about to start off with NFL, so some names out there. I want to run by y'all to see for also as possible suitors. Kenneth Walker will not be returning to the Seattle Seahawks, the Super Bowl MVP. Where do y'all think are some possible suitors? And I know it's a little different because it's the running back position, which we've discussed on here, is really at a premium. Expected that they will reset the market, Kenneth Walker being out there, and I believe my man over in Atlanta is up for an extension. Bijan, so that's going to be a hefty extension. Brees Hall, I know they tagged him. Smart by him. Wait till next year, he'll be able to get his bag too. But Kenneth Walker being out there, where are some possible suitors you think for him?
I like the Chiefs. They've been looking for a running back for a long time, and instead of maybe drafting Love in the first round, which, I mean, that's not what they need. They need defensive help or maybe another receiver. But you signed Kenneth Walker, and you already got a playmaker for Mahomes when he comes back. So I like that as a possible spot. Maybe Jacksonville too. I know ETN's a free agent as well. Do they want to bring him back? I mean, sure, he went to college with Trevor, but that shouldn't keep them from going after a better running back. I think Kenneth Walker's the best running back on the market right now. And, I mean, if you're including the draft, he's probably right behind Love. I think Love's pretty good, but you already have the proven product at the NFL level. So throw a bag at him and move. Like the Chiefs, this was their down year. Every dynasty kind of has one of those years where they tank a little bit. And, Mahomes, he's going to need a good running back. He doesn't need Pacheco banging his head against the left tackle's back for like 20 snaps a game. Like, he's going to need a good running back who's going to make his job easier coming off an ACL injury. So, I mean, that would be my favorite spot for him. Well, that and like the Commanders, because they do need running back help, make Jaden's job a little easier. So, yeah, those two spots.
Hey, Greg, you mentioned the Texans and CJ Stroud and possibly lighting a fire behind him with adding Kyler Murray and having to compete for that job. They did trade for David Montgomery. What was your thoughts on that trade of them? I think they gave up a 4th-round pick to get him in there in the building.
I think it's a great move. I think the running back position in Houston's been, a little iffy since they, obviously Woody Marks kind of came on the scene last year and played good football for them. And obviously the Nick Chubb's the acquisition was always going to be a kind of throw it at the wall and see if it sticks because of his injury history. And it didn't really work out. And then obviously since Mixon's kind of come along and then you have his injury history as well, it's been tricky. It's been tricky with them in that position. So I think Montgomery helps them kind of stabilize the position, right? He's a bruiser. He fits the way they play football over there. He's going to be looking to run through you as opposed to run around you. And I think he's a guy who can be the bell cow and get the most of your carries. And him and Marks will probably be the plan for next year with the ways that are going to make some pretty expensive cuts in Mixon and Chubb as well. I think they may have already gotten rid of Chubb, if I'm not mistaken. So at this point, I think, that's pretty much your running back from over there. I think it was a really nice fit. And clearly it tells me that they're going to run the ball a lot more when you look at the way that CJ played football and down the stretch last year and the way he struggled. I think they're going to be looking to run the ball to protect CJ a lot more. So it's a good side. It's a great move for them. And it also is a great move for Detroit because Jahmyr Gibbs needs to be getting more touches. I've been saying that since he got to the league. And I think that Detroit finally realized that.
Facts. I mean, it was cute and it was nice to have a little two-headed monster, but when you have somebody that good, you don't want to be splitting carries and taking them out the game because Montgomery got to get touches and you got to have two people happy. Montgomery is good, but what's premium right now in the NFL? Players that can have explosive plays that you do not have to actually design an explosive play for them.
Mm-hmm.
Gibbs is one of those players that it could turn from 5 to 20 easily. Put him in the backfield. He can catch a pass, goes 30 yards. You want that player to be on the field as much as possible. So, like you said, 1-1 for both teams. Probably the biggest free agent this year in free agency is Trey Hendrickson. He now is unrestricted. He is not going to be withheld by the Bengals and having a tag. He is a free agent now. I think he'll be entering next season at 31. Where are some possible suitors, the best fits that you think for Trey Hendrickson?
Contenders, right? Like he's late in his career. I'm not seeing a team that's up and coming and building something, going after a guy like Trey Hendrickson. And also, the Bengals, what a weird way to handle that contract situation, right? To do all this back and forth, bring him back, as a part of, also re-signing the two receivers, Higgins and Chase. You bring Hendrickson back as well. And, you would only do that. You would think a team would only do that if they're going to re-sign him and keep him long-term. And they ultimately do all that stuff just to let him go, right? In the end, it's very odd. And obviously, we know about the Bengals. We know, that they are, starving for some dollars, and for them it's, about saving a dollar more than anything else. And so at the end of the day, they made the decision that we all thought they would stereotypically make, which is to let him walk. But looking at where he could end up now, I just think that teams that are in the hunt for a Super Bowl is probably the places he's going to be looking to go. That need some pass rush help. I think Buffalo would be a spot, right? Buffalo loves to do this, get the retread defensive ends. They did it with Bosa, right? And it didn't really work out the way they wanted it to. I think if they can get some pop off the edge, they're going to try to get that here with Hendrickson. And there are other teams that will make a move like this that are interested. I don't think the Chiefs have really done this too much. I think their defense is really solid, and I don't think they've really made that kind of move. But I do think you'll have some suitors and some teams that are interested. It's more about the number he thinks he's worth at this point in his career. That matching up with where he's actually at with his skill. I think he's still a good player. I don't know if he's the same player he was when he initially demanded the contract from the Bengals. But that's the way this thing goes. They get to use you up and then throw you out.
I think the Titans could be a possible spot too. I know they're going to have to spend some money, make some moves through the draft, and they got to bring in some good players. Like Salah's known for the defense, and I mean they made a trade for Jermaine a couple weeks ago, Jermaine Johnson. So they're clearly looking for ends on defense and maybe secondary help. But I mean Trey Hendrickson's maybe a season or two removed from leading the league in sacks. So even though he had a down year, banged up, injuries, he still should get a solid contract. But like you said, it's silly business that they're running over there in Cincinnati. If you didn't plan on having him there long term, they should have traded him when they had the chance, after he led the league in sacks, instead of dragging out negotiations. He threatens to not play. Then he comes back, not having had a full training camp, and gets hurt. So now he leaves for nothing. I mean, they'll probably get a comp pick, but I mean, a comp pick compared to a first-round pick, big difference.
Huge difference. We talked about it last episode. We want to touch on it on this episode. We'll start off with the New York Jets. What are the offseason needs and moves that they need to make this offseason?
So the Jets need to revamp basically the whole defense, it feels like. With Glenn now calling plays, the defense is going to be totally different from last year. So that's why you see guys getting traded, released. They're going to go to a 3-4 now. you can never have too many corners. So I do think corner is a sneaky need, even though they paid Stevens last year from the Ravens. They drafted a couple guys, made a couple moves, but corner's a need. Safety's been a need for years. I mean, I can't remember the last good safety we had. And see what happens in the draft. I mean, they've got to figure out the quarterback situation. That's the biggest glaring issue we've been talking about since like Fitzpatrick was here, Mark Sanchez, that we haven't had a quarterback. And the only way you can succeed is if you figure that process out. So they'll sniff around the market of Kyler Murray. I mean, it's $1.5 million. So if he wants to play here, it's a gamble worth taking, and these guys need to win. So you bring in a good quarterback, Kyler can get you maybe 8-9 wins and maybe save your jobs. But yeah, defense is a big need. More playmakers, because right now it's Garrett, AD Mitchell, and Brees, and that's it. So we're not that far off. I don't think we're that far off. It's just you find the quarterback, things kind of fall into place a little bit.
Find that quarterback's that's a like that ain't easy.
Y'all was dead in the water before you guys lucked into. You were throwing dart throws last year.
Hey man, I got my guy. So here we are. But it's that's what I'm saying, man. You got to throw some darts at this thing. That's why I think the Kyler Murray situation, something y'all should be involved in. Maybe the Malik Willis hunt. I don't think Malik Willis plays hooping, bro. So I'm not ruling that out.
That's why Kyler slots in at number 1, because you're not paying that much. If you want Malik, you're gonna have to shell out some coin. And I'm not giving him $30 million a year off of 2 starts with the Packers.
That's fair.
Hey, the fact that I know a lot of people would love to be able to show up to work twice, have a good 2 days, and they talking about giving you a raise. Mm-hmm. That's beautiful for him. Congrats to Malik, who was considered, is he going to stay in the league, this, that, and third? Should he have been drafted that high? You go over there, you have 2 good starts, you're a good teammate, you don't cause no problems, and now you could have $30 million a year. Good times for Malik Willis. Over there, the New York Giants, y'all been busy already. Draft ain't come up yet, obviously. Y'all cut Okereke earlier today. Y'all done got, I heard a Giants fan a couple weeks ago said, we got all head coaches on our coaching staff. How are you feeling about so far y'all offseason, and what are the additional needs that the Giants need?
I mean, I feel pretty upbeat about it. I think it's been an organizational overhaul with John Harbaugh coming in, and he's changing the way things are operating. We've talked about this in the podcast before. I won't be the dead horse, so to speak. Don't let Peter come after you for that one. But nah, man, I mean, like the reality of it is I think with the Giants and where things stand, I think from a personnel standpoint, them releasing Okereke made me feel pretty vindicated, right, and pretty smart, because I think every Giants fan, or a lot of Giants fans, feel like the inside linebacker room needs to be completely revamped and rehauled, and I think needs to be more athletic on the second level. I think part of the reason why they have a hard time stopping the run is because they're just not rangy enough at that level, and they don't really get from point A to point B fast enough behind Dexter Lawrence, behind that defensive line. So Sonny Styles is a guy I'm directly looking at as a guy who can help me solve those issues. Another guy I'm looking at is Leo Chenal, the free agent linebacker now too. I believe he played for the Chiefs for quite some time. I'm not sure if he's still with the Chiefs or not, but I'd love to get him here. He's only 25 years old, I believe. I'd love to get him here. And so, Devin Lloyd will cost a lot more money. He's out there too. He's just played for the Jaguars, played at a high level with that great defense over there. But there are names, there are opportunities, and I think if you look at Harbaugh's history, he's never had a bad linebacking room. Like, they went out and got Roquan Smith, right, late in his tenure with Baltimore. He had Ray Lewis, right? He had C.J. Mosley, right, and through his best years. So he takes that position very seriously, and that's exactly what the Giants need is to get an upgrade right at the linebacker position. So I anticipate that's going to be happening really soon. They'll prioritize that. They got to resign Illuminor, which I've heard they're going to do. That he can't walk, he can't leave the building. You've got to keep that offensive line intact and improve it. And part of improving it is making sure that you maintain it and keep the guys that have been here, and then I also add to it in the draft and get younger at the guard spots. I heard they're going to be interested in some free agent guards, Linderbaum, guys like that. We'll see. We'll see. He's a center, but we'll see what they do there. That should be interesting. It's really expensive, so we'll see. But yeah, look, in no short order, inside linebacker has to get better. You got to get better along the offensive line, retain your offensive lineman or Luminor, and then you've got to get a wide receiver too to pair with Malik Neighbors because that position was just lacking. Wan'Dale Robinson won't be here. I certainly wouldn't pay him what he's asking for based on the fact that he caught 4 touchdowns last year. I know he's a damn good football player, and he'll probably get that money somewhere. But if I'm the Giants, I have to prioritize, fixing that run defense, right? Strengthening my offensive line for Jackson Dart so they can run the ball with more effectiveness. And also so he can step in more throws and be even more effective. And then also getting a wide receiver too that complements Malik Neighbors in case Malik's not ready for week 1 too. Like you have a guy who can step in and play at a high level because Darius Slayton ain't it. So the Giants are going to make some moves because you're not bringing back Wan'Dale. Then you're going to have to make some moves with the wide receiver room, and I think they'll do that. So outside of those personnel moves they have to make, and I think what's clearly in front of them, I think they've done a great job so far in just changing the organization and making it much more like of a present day operation, right? Like it's not running like some old school, mom and pop shop, right? You've got people in the building that know what they're doing. And so there's a lot to be excited about if you're a Giants fan. I'm excited about it.
Hey, now you mentioned this guy's name, Sonny Styles. When we're talking about positional value, right? They did pretty well, comma-wise. They had a pretty good college career. And I might, I'm saying pretty good, really good. They are considered some of the best prospects coming into this draft. Positional value in mind, right? Are they top 5 picks realistically or just first rounders?
They'll be top 5 like on the big board players, but the positional value is a real thing. Like I don't think the Giants would take Saquon again at that slot. Like it was just a waste of an asset. You can get great running backs in the 5th and 6th round. So taking a running back that high, no matter how great they were in college, doesn't make much sense. So yeah, the positional value of an offensive tackle means a lot more than a running back. So yeah, we're gonna see those offensive linemen go higher than Jeremiyah Love, I think. Although I could see a team like the Titans or the Cardinals maybe gambling with the talent because Love is probably, if he's not 1, he's 2 of top prospects in this draft. And it's not the strongest draft, but yeah, Sonny Styles is great. He's a great player. And I don't think he should drop out of the top 5 in this draft because there's a lot of teams that could use a linebacker like that. But this is a deep linebacker class too. So if you're not willing to gamble and let's say the Giants are looking at him at 5, but they also need offensive tackle help or O-line help somewhere, do you take the linebacker or do you take the O-tackle when you could probably get a decent linebacker in the 2nd round, like a CJ Allen or one of these other guys that maybe not the same level of of Sonny Styles, but you don't always have to go for the big name. You can wait. You can wait a little bit. So,
how are you feeling about Caleb Downs, a safety being drafted that high?
I feel like Sonny Styles has a greater chance of being a top 5 pick than Caleb Downs does because Caleb Downs plays safety, and safety is traditionally a position that you don't see, go that high because of the fact that, it's a positional value thing, right? Like, the highest value players that you can get or in any class are guys who affect every single player in the line of trenches, in the trenches. So like your offensive tackles, your guards, and guards don't even really go at that high 9 times out of 10 either. But, your tackles, your defensive ends, your receivers, your cornerbacks, like these guys that really impact the game on a play-to-play basis because of the way the game has kind of shifted. That being said, this is a weaker class. And so because of that, like Miles said, because of that, Caleb is going to get some consideration earlier. That's not to knock him. He's a really outstanding talent as well. So I think he's going to get selected in the top 10. I don't doubt that. But as far as 5 goes, I don't see it. I think with the linebacker position, things have changed a bit. Like, right, you've seen guys like Michael Parsons get selected, and they kind of come in as a linebacker, so it's kind of prospect, and then they eventually kind of shift over to becoming an edge. And I know that Sonny Styles had some plays where he was rushing the passer, so he has position flexibility, which makes him more fun as well. I know people will say, "Oh, well, Isaiah Simmons, right? Isaiah Simmons is the cautionary tale when it comes to a guy like Sonny Styles," but that just kind of shows that you're not really watching Ohio State play, which is understandable. But I think that his tape is a lot different. He really is fundamentally sound in fitting the run, and he gets after the quarterback, and that might be the best thing he does. It might be his best trait is rushing the passer. So there's just 2 ways he's going to immediately impact the game. And with that athletic ability, he probably can cover in space too. So he'll be able to cover tight ends, cover running backs as well. So he's really an exciting prospect because of everything he can do within the kind of the scope of being a linebacker in the NFL. So I think he kind of trumps the positional value argument because of everything he brings to your defense. And that's why he's worthy of the number 5 pick. I've heard somebody say they'd take him at 2 if they could, right? So, like, I don't know about that, but that's something they said. And so I think I can see why you would be so high on Sonny Styles as opposed to Caleb Downs, who Caleb Downs is going to be, again, in the box. Your safety will be a hybrid. He'll play back there in the backfield and play your center field type role. So it's a little bit different as well. But no, I think Sonny Styles certainly merits it. And I think the big thing that kind of changed this draft class too is the fact that the wide receivers aren't getting the hype I thought they would. Like Jordan Tyson ain't getting really the love I thought he was going to get. Carnell Tate ran the 4.5, and everyone's kind of off of him, which is, I think, is ridiculous. But those guys aren't getting the attention that we thought they'd get, and so it's kind of rearranging the draft boards and changing the way we're kind of looking at things too. And the other part of it is the quarterback conversation is non-existent because the quarterbacks overall as a whole, including Mendoza, are underwhelming. And I know people will maybe think that's a controversial statement, but I've been telling y'all for a while, Mendoza doesn't really like move me as a superstar prospect. I don't think that's really what I'm watching when I see him.
No, when you talk about superstar prospects though, Jeremiyah Love, like Miles said, if you were just saying, hey, like the NBA draft, the best player gets picked number 1 overall, Jeremiyah Love would be the number 1 overall pick in this draft by most people. Talent-wise, the best prospect that's on the board. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But Jeremiyah Love, from all that we've seen, college, how he looks, combine, all of what we've seen, right? Is how good will Jeremiyah Love be? Is this a future All-Pro?
I think he's going to be a really good player. I don't have a lot of doubts about that necessarily. I think my thing is kind of like when I hear about the Cardinals taking him at 3, and it's like, did we learn anything from the Giants? Did we learn, did you not learn from their mistake? Because taking him at 3, when you don't have a quarterback in place and you're starting from scratch at that position, and you have some pretty good skill players in the roster already, and James Conner is a really, really fantastic running back. I know he's coming off an injury, but he's a fantastic running back. I just have a lot of questions about the process behind taking him that high. That being said, he ran like a 4.43 or early 4.4, which is ridiculous. I think
it was like 4.36.
Yeah, it's a faster 40 time than Saquon. I think Saquon was like a 4.4. So that's insane. He's obviously extremely talented. He's going to go high. So I think he'll be a really good player if he's in the right situation behind a really good offensive line that can, kind of create those rushing lanes for him. I admittedly didn't watch a whole lot of Notre Dame football primarily because the quarterback play was okay, and you kind of pride themselves on running the football. It's a little bit boring to watch over there in South Bend. But that being said, he's obviously has a highlight play every single weekend. We talk about college football, maybe two, and he's going to be a fantastic running back in the NFL. Again, I want to see how patient he is behind the line of scrimmage, picking his holes to run through. We'll see how that all works out because I think Saquon was such a great athlete. He kind of didn't happen that early, and you saw him bite him early in his career with the Giants, and actually last year too, to be quite honest. But we'll see how his processing is behind the line of scrimmage. I think he can be a really good player in the NFL. I have no doubt about that. I'm more interested to see where he ends up going. Like, where do you go? Who picks you? Right? Do you really go that high? Do you really go in the top 10? Back half of the top 10, I can maybe understand. I still wouldn't do it because Mike Washington from Arkansas also ran like a 4.3. Like, there's just going to be guys you can pick that are going to be solid NFL contributors. But hey, we'll see what happens.
Miles, so mentioning that, the combine, who were some of the other prospects that stood out to you from the combine, especially being that I listened to a podcast, they were saying this year, a lot of people declined to actually do the combine this year. So when people were saying like, oh, this is the fastest group of players that we've ever had in the combine, I think they said maybe like 60% of the players did not actually compete and join in on the combine this year. But those that did, who stuck out to you? Who were surprising, or people that you was like, hey, their stock rose from this combine?
Like Kenyon Sadiq, I don't think his stock rose because I don't think he's going to go like top 10, maybe top 15. But at 6'3", 245 to run a 4.39 in the 40 as a tight end, that's definitely going to pique some interest. And I'd be curious for teams like the Rams have a pick at 13. Do they go for they have 2 first-round picks. Do they go for a defender there, or do they take another weapon? And that kid he's like a receiver at that size. I mean, he's going to be good. Depending on where he goes, he's going to be a really good player. I thought Ty Simpson looked really good at the combine. Of course, it's in shorts and T-shirts, so it doesn't compare to what we see on Sundays, but it's still a part of the interview process. I mean, he didn't really look off kilt out there. Like, he was making all the throws. Even the deep bombs were on the money. So Mendoza didn't throw. Ty Simpson did. That's already a win in my book. As long as you show up and you're not afraid to compete. Interested to see where he goes. What are the guys? The one I'm interested in is the Taylon Green quarterback. Because is he a quarterback? Is he going to transition to receiver? I don't want to do that right away. It's not going to happen right away. But, I mean, if he doesn't blow people out of the waters in training camp, the talk's going to get louder. Like, you hear the Terrell Pryor comp. And, I mean, it's pretty accurate. He's not the best quarterback in the draft. And you're 6'6", 240, and you ran a 4.3. Like, that screams position change. And unless he goes to, let's say, Green Bay or the Rams, and they work with him and they're willing to bet on it, he's going to end up putting gloves on at some point. So, I mean, his stock already rose. Somebody's going to gamble on him and take him in the draft. And, yeah, that should be fun. It's a fun gadget to have on the team, having a quarterback or an athlete that makes plays like that.
Yeah, that was crazy. Putting out the 4.36 at that size. Yeah, especially being he doesn't have much tape that proves that he could be a quarterback at the NFL level. So if you want to get the check, it might have to. This is not the Lamar Jackson situation. Lamar had tape where it's like, all right, he could play QB. Taylor, on the other hand, the agent, somebody gonna have to have a talk and have him sit down. Like, all right, do you want to play 10 years, or do you want to do 4 or 5 like Pryor and Only God knows what he's doing now. So definitely something to watch out for. Like we said, we're gonna keep y'all updated. NFL offseason is really just getting started. There's a whole lot that's going to be happening, and obviously we got 22 games left in the NBA season. So this is the best time of the year. Y'all gonna get a lot of great conversation, great content over here, and we just going from the young players coming into the NFL to the oldest player in the NBA currently, LeBron James, with the Lakers. He has his lowest usage rate of his career, while his teammate Luka has his highest usage rate of his career. Last I checked, they're only a game and a half from being in the play-in. Not the best season. Are the Lakers actually better, though, when LeBron has a higher usage rate?
I personally think so. I think everything you watch when you watch that team play kind of points to that. You know, when the Saturday night game against the Warriors, I know the Warriors are hapless and not good, but you saw LeBron get hot, get going early, and they were able to just kind of avalanche on that Warriors team, who still can compete. You saw them give the Clippers a run for their money the other night, right? So they can still compete, and so for LeBron to go out there and do that at his age, it's really not so much about the shot making for me. It's really more so about the decision making. I think he's just a far better decision maker at this stage in his career, even at this advanced stage, than Luka is now, right? I just think he does a better job of getting you a quality shot, going down the floor 9 times out of 10, whether it's a shot for him or a shot for somebody else, as opposed to Luka, who has the tendency to kind of want a heat check over the course of a game and take a tough shot over 2 people, take a contested step back jumper, right? But then pass up an open one at the end of a game, right? And tell you that it's a bit too far, right? Luka's had a very interesting season in terms of decision making, in terms of his shot making kind of coming and going a little bit over the course of the games. I know he's still averaging 30. He can do that. He can do that in his sleep, but that's not the way you judge players of that caliber. You judge them based on wins and losses, based on how they elevate guys around them. And I think there's something to be said for the fact that the team just plays better and harder when LeBron's at the range making decisions, because they know there's a better chance I'm going to get that basketball. They know if I cut, I'm probably going to get fouled, as opposed to Luka, who will get into that little step back game, get into that little post up situation where he can pass out of it, and he will, but it's almost like it's the last option, and you're kind of just standing there watching him pound the ball. And it does remind me of James Harden, but in his prime, except James Harden was inevitable in his prime. Like, he was going to score. So when you were standing there, you knew the guy with the ball is probably going to score a basket or get fouled. And it was just this thing that there was nothing you could do about it, right? Teams had to start guarding him from behind. Pause. So it was really, really interesting to watch that unfold. But nah, man, I mean, Kobe said it when Kobe started doing the ESPN series. It's really hard to win that way. When you got 5 sets of eyes on you, right? You're just pounding the basketball away. It's hard to win, as opposed to LeBron, where LeBron's at a stage where he can move the ball, cut, set a screen, right? But he's also going to just get you into initiate a better offense for you, right? You're not going to get that bad step back jump shot. You're going to get a better look. And so I think clearly the answer is that he's better. I mean, the only reason why I thought this was worth talking about tonight is because I saw Brian Windhorst basically say that, like, when LeBron's on the floor, they're just the worst team, which I couldn't make sense of. If you're watching the Lakers play on a nightly basis, I don't see how you could think that's possible, or how you could even go out there and say that. It's pretty irresponsible, considering the fact that, again, LeBron has spearheaded a lot of their comebacks. When they go to these lineups where LeBron's the only playmaker on the floor, they're just better. They're a better basketball team. And I think when LeBron walks away, which is crazy to say about a 40-year-old or 41-year-old, right? Like, they're going to miss him. They're going to miss that. It's going to be hard to replace it as well. But we'll see, man. I think it's been a rough year for Luka. The shot making isn't quite the same. The physical endurance isn't quite the same either. I think he's kind of put some weight back on, which is pretty crazy to say. But yeah, man, it's been a tough season for him. But I do think LeBron is underrated, which is so crazy to say nowadays. But I think he's a bit underrated when you talk about what he means to that Lakers team, right? If you're watching them play. So those are my stances. And I think when LeBron's 3-ball starts falling, like we saw fall the other night, those numbers are going to get a bit more gaudy in terms of his scoring figures.
I think the thing too when it comes to Luka is that You see games like tonight, they're playing the Pelicans. They're only up 5, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people don't pay too much into the plus minus and the net rating and whatnot. But right now, Bron is +4. He's a positive. Luka is -3.
There you go.
They're only up 5. The way that Luka plays, if you're not on, and the way that this roster is set up, you have way too many close games with teams that you should be blowing them out the water. That's what you saw at least with the Rockets. The roster was better in the case of they was knocking down a bunch of threes when Harden did kick it out to you. You was ready. You knocked down the threes. And Harden was easily, y'all could debate with your mother, easily a better scorer than Luka. Prime for prime, if we looking at it, easier because Harden still attacked the basket. Harden got to the free throw line more. They both cried, but Luka is a Hall of Fame crier. Doesn't get back on defense. It's actually, as a Lakers fan, I'm like,
The future with him is out of that.
I mean,
Doesn't excite you. You know what's
I'm
crazy,
no
Tony?
longer. Is weird off. I'm out of the honeymoon phase now. I'm out of the honeymoon phase now, and I'm seeing all of the warts and all the things that's we've said about Luka is still there. So I'm past the honeymoon phase, and the thing is, it's like I'm not the Lakers though. They decided this is where they wanted to wish they had. They wanted to pitch their wagon to Luka. This is who you decided. You proposed to him. Now y'all stuck with him. Y'all gonna have a future of Luka and Austin Reeves. 2 players very similar, need the ball. They don't cut off the ball. They don't move without the ball really that well. And they don't play defense. And I said this to somebody the other day. I feel the standard of greatness has completely changed. Because when we were growing up, if you were a superstar or if you were the face of the franchise, you had to play both sides of the court. I'm hearing so many people give excuses of like, well, Luka has to exert so much energy on offense, get in better shape than Jaylen Brown plays both sides. It's doable. When we were growing up, when we were even playing, Miles and Greg, y'all know y'all coaches was not letting you get mad PT if you was not going to play on the defensive side. They didn't care how much you could score and how talented you were on offense. You still had to play defense, at least give an effort. Luka doesn't give any effort on defense. He doesn't even try, and he's 6'8", so he has the frame. He has some of the intangibles where you could be a halfway decent defender. Shoot, y'all get on Jalen Brunson's case, but Jalen Brunson is always top 5 in charges taken. He's doing something to try to help defense. Steph Curry, same thing. I ain't got the body frame to really do anything that's going to stop anybody. Y'all can all shoot over me, but I'm going to be top in charges. I'm going to be top 5, top 10 in steals. What does Luka do? Cherry pick, get a couple steals. So, all right, it looks like I play defense. Outside of that, he don't do nothing.
Yep. And the thing is, we talked about in the chat too, that I want to make sure you brought up when we talked about Luka today is like you can always tell when it's the end of someone's offensive prime when you see their drives to the rim attempts just go down, right? Like that's what happened to James Harden. We saw his drives to the rim just decrease and get lower and lower and lower to where we are now with him, where he doesn't really impact the game offensively the same way he used to because he's not a force at the rim and forcing the issue and putting pressure on the defenses. Luka's at that stage. Luka played a lot of his shots are tough off balance floaters. They're post up stop off 2 feet. He's trying to bump you and then and you know get a shot up, right? An unorthodox shot up or fade away over you. He doesn't get the easy blow by layup anymore. He doesn't get fouled when he goes to the rim. And he's like Miles pointed out here, he's 27 years old. So it seems like he's already on the athletic decline and on the back or on the wrong side of this thing. Now, maybe, again, we talk about diet and we talk about him losing weight and maybe that changes things and he feels more springy to step and can drive the ball. But how often, I mean, at this stage, I think he is what he is, right? He likes to eat what he likes to eat, right? Whatever that may be. And I think we have to accept the fact that we're all on the way down in terms of his athletic prime. And he's going to have to be able to shoot the skin off the basketball to be able to be an elite offensive player and a guy who can carry a team to a championship because you're not getting easy and one opportunities, easy fouls. You're not able to kind of, if you don't have it going, you can force the issue just getting downhill to the rim, right? That's what Kobe had. That's what Michael had. That's what LeBron had, right? These guys could get to the rim whenever they wanted, and so it made him impossible to guard. Dwayne Wade, right before, and by the way, you saw it happen to Dwayne Wade. After the knee injuries kind of piled up, his attempts at the rim, his drives to the rim started decreasing, and that's when we saw him go to Chicago Bulls Dwayne Wade, Cleveland Cavs Dwayne Wade, where it was over, right? It's his game was never based on that athletic ability, Luka, but he had the ability to get to the rim early in those Dallas years. He doesn't do it anymore, and I think it's because of maybe injuries piling up, but also because of his physical well-being, the things you're eating, the way you're taking care of yourself. People joked about the hookah Luka thing, right, where he was out here at the hookah lounge, but that's not a joke. If you're a professional athlete, man, and playing at this level, 82 games a year, you need to take care of yourself to be able to continue to put pressure on the rim, to continue to put pressure on defenses, and do that and carry a team. It's a lot. And I just think he didn't take that seriously enough. And when we look back at it, it'll be one of the more sad things we reminisce about is what he could have been. And what he was special, but you know what I mean? Like, you could have been that guy, generational, championship winner. And I don't know that I see it for him. I don't think that he can lead a team to a championship with the way he plays. I don't think it's sustainable at all. And it's really not fun to watch. If he's cooking, okay, but like, it's really tough to watch. That's the other part of this thing too. The Lakers have become a hard watch when LeBron isn't leading the show, right? So it's just very interesting how that goes.
I think another thing too, before we transition to be reminded of, and this is where, for those that are playing AAU or have kids that's watching this, Luke has literally been like a pro since 12. That very well also could be a huge factor. He was playing like it's different. We talk about the AAU system being broken over here, and yes, that's a whole nother episode that could be talked about, what needs to be fixed with AAU in America. But they're not playing professional grown men. He's been playing grown men since like 12, 13 years old. I'm sure added with diet and things of that nature, definitely impacting that. And also, if you're already a professional at 12 years old, I can see outside looking in, this is why he likes to do the hookah and the beer and this. He ain't get to really enjoy 12 years old. You're a professional. 12 years old, you got to go to work. It's something that you love, but 12 years old. So I can see where you may say it's immaturity and stuff. You see that sometimes with these young phenoms, the Michael Jacksons of the world. When you have to basically be an adult and take care of adult things, even the kids that I skipped 17 grades and I graduated college at 14. All right, now what? What do you do now? All of that for what? Like, it needs to be a balance. And I think he's one of those players that did not have that balance. Lakers are only up by 1 against the Pelicans. I already told y'all a couple months ago, throw this season away. It is what it is. The Pelicans, though, in the same vein, Miles, do you think that Zion can still be the franchise guy for the Pelicans? He came out recently in an interview with Malika Andrews and saying how he was really low. He was down bad with all of the critiques about his weight and his eating habits, and he didn't know if his foot was going to be working anymore. Can Zion next season maybe? Because this season is done. They're one of the worst teams in the NBA. Can Zion return to being that franchise guy that they thought they were drafting?
I just don't think it's gonna happen here. Like, he's been here for how many years? 6 years now, and just dealing with injuries left and right. Even this year, he was out for a period of time with injuries. And when he's out there, he's good. It's just when he came into the league, we were thinking we were getting this generational talent who jumps out the gym, and he's 6'5", but nobody can stay with him. He's got that quick first step. And we see glimpses now and then, but I don't think we're ever going to get that prospect back. So I think at some point they're going to have to move on and trade him, which, I mean, it stinks because same thing happened with AD. They couldn't win with AD. They had to trade him. Zion didn't hit those milestones that AD hit, but There's always going to be that what if with those guys, and they're going to have to usher in a new era in New Orleans, unfortunately. So yeah, maybe at some point we can see Zion playing meaningful basketball again. Because I think a couple years ago, before he got hurt one year, they were like the 2 seed in the West, and they were really playing well. And I was thinking, like, here it is. It's about to like finally click with this team, and then he gets hurt, and then he's out for a couple months. And I think ever since then, it's just been like just slowly going downhill. You trade BI, you make some more moves. You trade for Jordan Poole. Dumb moves. And I mean, it's not a serious franchise. They can't decide whether they want to compete or they want to blow the whole thing up. They have pieces on this team that they could trade for assets for the future, and they just won't do it because they're like, oh, we want to try to compete next year. Like, you're in the Western Conference. You're never going to compete. You're never going to attract free agents, and you're never going to be a serious organization. So, yeah, Zion, it's a lost cause over there in New Orleans.
Which is tough to see from what we all thought possibly could be, especially what comes to my mind when we talk about glimpses, that series against the Lakers. It wasn't the series, it was the play-in game, I believe, the play-in game. Hey, I'm watching the game like, yo, Lakers might lose this game. The Lakers might lose this game. Nobody could do nothing with him. Now, obviously, I was LeBron at an older age. LeBron at peak probably would have been able to go pound for pound with Zion. But still, Zion was doing whatever he wanted out there. In this era, one of the biggest what-if stories of, like, what if he could have been healthy, what we would have saw from Zion. Because he had all the athleticism. And like you said, undersized big. It was kind of like this modern Charles Barkley of this era. You're playing power forward. You're only 6'4", 6'5". You're the height of a guard, but can't nobody do nothing with you. Really sad story with him.
It's like,
maybe
it's like
I'm
Lonzo
bugging.
Ball, bro. It's like Lonzo Ball, same thing. Like Lonzo Ball would have been this generation's Jason Kidd if he didn't have degenerative knees. That's what he would have been, Jason Kidd. When I watch him play, it's exactly what he would have been. Like the development of 3-point shot later on in his career, the defense, the ability to feel for the game he had, which was elite. He is a special basketball player. He really is. It's just the injuries have really stolen away what could have been an incredible career, and it's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate because that Bulls run he had, where it all started to kind of click, and he was making shots, and he was just reformed his shot from that stint with the Pelicans and things like that. I think, Magic Johnson's vision of what it could have been when he picked him over De'Aaron Fox, which people make fun of him for now, but the way his career was starting to take shape, you could see why he was picked as high as he was picked, and what he was at UCLA and Chino Hills, and he really is a special basketball player. He's a special basketball mind. He has elite IQ. It's really a shame that the knee injuries kind of stole that from us. 'Cause I think we could have enjoyed one of the better point guards of this generation, and one of the guys we could say, like, yo, that could be a Hall of Fame player. Like, it was coming together, and it would have been more about the leadership, the passing, the defense, which was elite. The defense he was putting people in torture chambers every night. And so it's really a shame that we didn't get a chance to see that materialize. But to your point, like, it's the same thing with Zion, right? And by the way, I'm off this conversation about Zion. It's never going to happen. Like, it's done. I think once we saw the Mariah Mills thing and the decision making off the court, if you can't stay away from Mariah Mills, you can't stay away from Applebee's. Like, it's a correlation. You can't stay away. It's the truth. I swear to God. If you can't stay away from someone like Mariah Mills and you have to do decision making, if that's who you choose to spend time with, then there's no way you're going to stay away from the jambalaya rice and the all that food that you got down there in New Orleans. So I don't want to hear it. I think it's clear that we are past the point of wondering about Zion Williamson, what he would have been. And we probably should have called it a wraps once he blew out that shoe. How have you got to be a blow out a shoe? You ever seen someone blow out a shoe before? Trying to bend that corner and you blow out a shoe?
Them big baller brand shoes, yeah.
I don't. Right. It's ironic.
Hey, with that with that Lonzo talk too, I was a huge believer in hoping that he would be healthy for Lonzo, and hopefully his brother LaMelo starts to take his career serious. Obviously, he's dealt with some injuries too, but it's like, yo, it could really be going like that. And his thing might not be injuries. His thing might be like, yo, you can't be on the streets of Charlotte acting like you in a video game. It's not it's not going to work like that, LaMelo. Like, very blessed and lucky that the person you got into action with is alive. Because if that person was dead, unalive, serious injury, you not putting on a Charlotte Hornets jersey anymore. You gonna be a perennial all-star in a jail league. So hopefully him going forward, he takes it serious. Maybe I'm bugging. And this is one of those where we're going in the deep dives. This is really just like a basketball nerdy type of conversation. Do we think that possibly Bam Adebayo, has he reached his peak? Because I feel even D-Wade mentioned it recently, how, hey, he was telling him in the interview, like, yo, this is your team. You got to take over, yada, yada, yada. I feel he has the skill set to be able to do that. And of course, he was playing with D-Wade and some of the other bigger players, so he didn't have to have that responsibility. But I agree with D-Wade. This is your team. Tyler Hero, he's a scorer. But I feel Bam could produce so much more and could be so much more. Maybe it's the new offense that took away the pick and roll, which he uses heavy, the pick and pop. That's not really much in this new Miami Heat offense. Do you think like Bam, has he hit his peak, or could we see another level of Bam?
I mean, I don't know if Miles, you would had a thought there, but I it's always hard to coordinate those guys as franchise leaders, big men, right? Like even in today's game, if you're not going to initiate the offense, it's kind of hard. And I think he doesn't do that nearly enough. Someone has to give him the basketball. And I think if you look at Miami, where's their point guard at? Like, don't tell me it's Davion Mitchell. Don't tell me it's whoever else their backup guard is. It sure as hell ain't Tyler Hero, who's looking to shoot everything he catches, right? So who's getting them the ball? Who's making his life easier? We just talking about Lonzo Ball. I mean, who's throwing the outlet pass ahead? Who's getting them the ball early and post up opportunities? AD had LeBron, right? So like when AD's dominant years and the year they won a championship, like LeBron made that guy's life the easiest it had ever been as a pro, right? He was getting easy baskets. He was throwing the ball down the floor before anyone could get back and hitting AD on easy post-up situations. I'm not saying Bam is AD, but Bam is very talented. And I think that he would really benefit from playing with the guy who was a playmaker, playing with another great player. I don't know that in fact, I know, excuse me. I know he's not a 1A. I know he's not like a championship, like, oh, I'm your best player and we're going to win a championship because I'm the guy every night. No, that's not him. But we could look at him in the same vein. We look at Cat. He could be the second best player on a team that is serious and in title contention. Of course he can. Of course he can. He's the shooter that Cat is, but he's a better defensive player, far better defensive player. He's got a nice mid-range jump shot. His three ball's gotten better as his career has gone on. But again, like Cat gets to play with Jalen Brunson at the very least, right? Like, you got to get him a point guard there. And I know they were interested in John Morant I'm assuming, but that's one of many reasons why they were interested in John Morant, right? That and the fact that they think they're a rehabilitation program. They think they're Alcatraz over there, and they can rehabilitate this guy and change him into a different person. But that's a different story. But nah, man, I think he needs a point guard for us to really see what it's going to be. And I don't think Miami, and all the years that he's been there, has really ever really addressed that position, right? They never had an elite talent at point guard. Someone could tell me I'm wrong. You could point at somebody, but from what I can remember, the last great point guard that team had was LeBron James. That's the last great playmaker they had over there in Miami. So until you do that, it's hard to kind of gauge what Bam could be. It's also hard for someone to say, oh, well, Bam is your team. Well, Norman Powell ain't getting the basketball. And Andrew Wiggins isn't either. So again, the list is getting shorter and shorter here. And Terry Rozier wasn't before he decided to be a jailbird. So there's all these things that you have to think about when you talk about Bam Adebayo. I think it's hard, but he's obviously extremely talented and probably a bit underrated because of the fact that, again, Pat didn't address the position.
Well, sure, but I think that on most of these Heat teams, he's been the most talented guy on it. Like this is a guy who could be a defensive player of the year, and athletically, he should be one of the top 3 or 4 big men in the NBA. But for some reason, it just hasn't. I don't know. It hasn't clicked, or I don't know if he's what he's working on in the offseason, but he should be a lot more dominant than he is. So sure, like I get it. Sometimes you need a point guard to kind of make your job easier. But there's guys in the NBA that don't need a point guard for that. Like they can get a bucket. They can go one on one with guys. And Bam, I don't want to say he's passive, but he's not. He's not trying to score like Joel Embiid or even like a Jokic. He's more like, you know, he's cool with being that second option. I've never seen him really try to like call for the ball or like try to take over a game. That's not who Bam is. Like Bam, this is what he is. He's always going to be this player. Unless he gets traded to a different team, this is who I think Bam is always going to be. Like he's going to be an 18 point, 9 rebounds, 3 assists type of player and play defense. Like I don't really see him getting any better from here. So yeah, I do think he's sort of peaked. And I'm not saying his best years are behind him. He's still young. That's what you had. One and done, you could be a 10-year vet and you haven't hit 30 yet. So, he could still improve. But from what I've seen and what I watch, not on a nightly basis, but like when I can, is just a guy who is not, not comfortable being that guy. He's more comfortable kind of sitting back a little bit.
That's where I've said it before and I've discussed this. Like I feel, especially on a team like this, with Tyler Herro not being there at the beginning of the season, this was the season of, all right, you're averaging 20, 22 points a game. And like Greg's point, you have the skill set to do so. You got a nice mid-range. You got a decent handle. I watch personally, like, kind of frustrated. Like, you could be more dominant. We've seen flashes of it when he plays like these summer league things, and I'm like, all right, I get it, summer league, but could you bring any of this back to the regular season? Any of this? Like, does it have to be with do you need to get my man from We the Ones? Do you need to have him on the coaching staff or something? Because it's a different band we see in the summertime than what we see on a team like this with his less talent than those summer league teams. There's less talent on this team. It should, in my opinion, especially with Herro being out, him and Norman Powell should have been going back and forth 20, 25 every single night. But that's just that. I don't know. That's just me being a basketball junkie, and like I feel Bam could have been one of those more dominant players. And I think, like you said, to your point, this might be who he is. And also to Greg's point, first 3 years of his career, he had Goran Dragic as his point guard. 2021, 22, he had Kyle Lowry. So, and then we know Kyle Lowry's on the back end. He was there for 2-3 years. So they haven't really had a solid point guard playmaker to get him to rock. And he's had also players on his team that were bigger offensive problems and bigger offensive talents. So it could have been, you have that, it kind of turns down that motor on the offensive side, and all right, they need me on the defensive side. And I think that's what he accepted, because D-Wade, you went from D-Wade to Jimmy Butler for all them years. Tyler Herro comes on, and you kind of just sit back and accept that I'm going to be the defensive guy, which is a part of that Heat culture. Everybody got to play their role. He accepted his role when I think it could be much, much more. In this generation, right? We've been talking about it. We talked about it a little bit before we started the episode about how just really good Anthony Edwards has been this season. And if anybody's paid attention, every season that he's been in the league, each year his points have gone up. He's added something to his game. He competes on the defensive end as well. Everybody was talking about Wemby, rightfully so, and how he, impacted the All-Star game, but Ant was out there competing as well. But most of the love goes for when we have the conversation of shooting guard, at least on the podcast and on the TV shows on NBA Today and Kendrick Perkins and all the crew and everybody that's talking. SGA gets most of the love. And I saw a conversation, and y'all can tell me what y'all think about it. Somebody said, regarding shooting guards, we had MJ, we had Kobe. This next top shooting guard that's generational, really great player is going to be SGA at the shooting guard position. Is SGA this generation's MJ, this generation's Kobe?
No. No. No, I don't think so. I think SGA is a great scorer. I think to replicate what Kobe and MJ bring to the game, I think if you were going to say that, it'd be Ant. Like,
Right.
Ant more closely replicates what MJ and Kobe kind of brought to the game, where they play with a flair, right? There's a flair they bring. Obviously, they're extremely skilled. They can score at all three levels, right? They can hit threes. They can knock down a pull-up jump shot. They can get to the post up and score out of the post up and have great footwork there. I think Ant's added that, and he's continuing to work on that. But part of what made MJ and Kobe great was just like the ability to be great showmen. Like when you can't watch them play, they're going to do something really dope every night. Like play above the rim. I think that's kind of gotten lost is the idea that you're playing to the fans a bit too. The great players are able to kind of just control the gym, right? Control the energy in the arena, right? Whether their team's getting beat up and they're down and they need to make something happen, they make a play, like get an incredible block shot or dunk on somebody, or get on a fast break and make an incredible, do an incredible dunk on the break. Or make a great pass, whatever it might be. But I just think, or a great defensive play. I think that Ant is more reincarnation of what those guys were, right? Where he's able to control the energy in the gym, make the great play, right? When it's timely, and it's a timely great play. And I'm not saying SJ is not a great player, that he doesn't make timely great plays, but it's not the same. Like, he's not the same level of showman, right? That those guys are. And I think that's underrated. I think LeBron in his prime was doing that too. LeBron would get in the break and do that signature dunk. He plays to the crowd. It's obviously about wins and losses. Don't get me wrong, but that is a part of the whole equation. When you hear Kobe talk about the fact that I didn't want to sit out any games because you never knew who was coming to watch me, and it was their first time, right? I think Ant has a very similar mentality. I really do. I'm not saying SGA doesn't. Like, he comes to work every day, but he is playing to wow those fans. He wants them to leave and say, that's the best player I've ever seen play, right? And there's nothing he can't do on the court. I think Ant has that. He has that it factor. That's the it factor. That is what it is the ability to control the energy in the gym, and single-handedly flip that energy in the gym whenever you want, as well. So no, I think Ant's that. And I think Ant's the top 5 player in basketball. I've been saying it. I really believe that. I think he deserves to be in that conversation. He's more than earned it. I think the postseason performances, he's been a giant killer in the postseason. He hasn't gotten over that hill yet, gotten over the hump. Hard to do with Rudy Gobert on your team, but that's neither here nor there. Right. But yeah, I think, and also another guy who would benefit from a point guard, a really good point guard, as well as Mike Conley's gotten older and phased out. But yeah, I mean, I think that he is a phenomenal basketball player. And has all-time great written all over him as well. So, yeah, he's more in that mold. It's not SGA, though. It's not him. Like, for all the reasons I just named, it's not him.
Would y'all say that SGA is kind of boring to watch?
There is a bit of that to me. I don't know. Miles might disagree. And I'll let you go. I think he is, because I think it's very repetitive. It's, it's the bump fade jumper, which is beautiful, great. You have that in your game, but then it's also a lot of foul baiting, right? Ant doesn't foul bait, right? Like, Ant is just gonna kill you. Like, Ant has a playground style to him where it's just like, It's me and you one-on-one, and you can't do anything to stop me, and I'm just going to kill you all night. If you want to send two at me, I might still kill both of them. The way Kobe would just shoot over double team, or or we can change the matchup. I'm still going to score. Like, there's no good matchup for me. And not only am I going to kick your ass, I'm going to tell you about it the entire night. Like, he did it to Memphis tonight. I'm just going to tell you. I'm going to keep talking the entire night. He really does play to the crowd. He really is an incredibly exciting player. It's not remotely the same. SGA is great, but SGA is from, he's a Canadian. It ain't the same. They're nice people. They're nice guys, right? And I think it's just not the same. I think, he plays with a swagger. He's more of he plays like he really is a Gen Zer. He's a great basketball player, but he's a Gen Zer in that sense. Like, he isn't the showman. He isn't like the killer that Ant is. Ant is a killer. I hate to use these words because these are all the words people had to use against LeBron, even though LeBron's a killer in his own right, but we can get into that one another day. This guy's a killer, like Ant's a killer, old school style. Like, I just really enjoy watching him.
I feel like you can appreciate SGA's game a little more once like the playoffs start, because sure, you're not going to get as many of those like ticky-tack calls that he gets in the regular season. Like, yeah, the foul baiting is frustrating to watch, and it was frustrating when Harden would do it. But there's like a smoothness to his game that like you don't really see throughout the league. Like, he doesn't need to foul bait. He could get his 30, 32 points a game without that. Like, that's why it is frustrating with the flopping and the facial expressions when he bumps into the defender. Like, you don't have to do all of that. You are one of them ones. Like, you're the front runner for MVP again for a reason. So, yeah, the foul baiting is not fun to watch, but I do think like if you look past that, there's like games where he's just dominating and it's just so smooth. He's not beating you the way Ant is, where he can just like get past you off the dribble, dunking on you. Like, SGA is beating you with the mid range and the herky jerky motion on the court. And yes, that's not everybody's cup of tea, but I mean, this guy has improved every single year, and I think it's reached a point where, I mean, I think he one day could finish a full season at 60% from the field. That's how good this guy is.
Hey man, so you talking about being a showman. We're gonna end off with this conversation. Some would say one of the greatest shows in the nation is going to attend a show at Magic City. The Hawks are collaborating with Magic City for a special Magic City night. Now, for those that didn't hear about this, I'm gonna segue this just so it gives a little context. The Magic City night, all it is, it's a special hoodie that say Magic City on it. T.I.'s gonna perform, rightfully so. Atlanta, one of the biggest artists. T.I., maybe they could have got Killer Mike. Who knows? But we talking about showmen. I don't know how many people really want to see Killer Mike at a basketball game. And they want to have lemon pepper wings. Shout out to Lou Will. And lemon pepper barbecue wings. They are, as much as they are known for cheeks, they are also known for wings as some of the best wings. In the nation. Those wings have people go to funerals, and instead of going back to the bubble, they stop to go get some wings from Magic City. That's how good these wings are. Luke Kornet is not a fan of Magic City Night, wrote an article or a letter on Medium expressing how he was disappointed in the Hawks are having a Magic City Night celebrating strippers. Thoughts on Magic City Night and Luke Kornet's response?
I mean, look, if you want to dumb it down the way he did to like, oh, we shouldn't be doing this because the women, and it's like, bro, you're in Atlanta. This is part of the culture, and I feel like you're making this a bigger deal than it is. Like, it's one night. like you said, they're handing out wings, hoodies. They're not having a full-on strip show at the halftime of this game. Like if that was happening, then sure. I can see you being up in arms like, hey, we shouldn't be exploiting these women. We're here to watch basketball, not cheeks. So, but this is totally not what's going to happen. So, Luke, I know you don't go to the strip club that often. If you had a chance to go, you might think differently. Like the wings, I haven't had the chance to go, not yet. But I'm sure the wings are A1. Uh, I'm not going to mention the dancers, but Magic City is one of the top strip clubs in the country. Be that as it may, I don't think it's that big of a deal to like kind of recognize the culture of Atlanta. Like, you want us to just do the HBCUs and all that stuff and just recognize black culture that way? Like, I mean, there's a part of black culture in the city. And I mean, I don't think that it's a scarlet letter for Atlanta, and it shouldn't be treated that way.
Hey, I've been a couple strip clubs in my lifetime. I actually was doing podcasting before I was doing podcasting. You talk to a lot of them, they just not actually like, hey, I just want to shake my butt in front of a bunch of men and get money thrown at me. This is an ends to means. A lot of them that I've talked to, because I just felt it was a waste of money doing it. So I just talked to them. At the end of the day, I got this to pay. I'm in law school. I'm about to be a doctor. I'm trying to pay this off. My kids need food. Boom, 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 boom. Is it something that I engage into, especially being married? No, ain't my bag. But every time I've been to Atlanta, it is on the list to get some wings. And to Miles's point, and I'll let Greg end off the show with it. To Miles's point, I would understand Luke Kornet being upset if they actually decided at halftime. Because when I first heard it, I was like, now I know they ain't bringing the shorties to the game. That would be outrageous. If they bought...
This ain't P Valley.
Exactly. If this was the episode of P Valley or something like that happening at the Hawks game at halftime, because he mentioned, it's a family event. It's a family event. They not going to be there. The strippers ain't going to be there. It's not like the Magic City's like, all right, we're going to get our starting five. Halftime. Let's get it. That's not what's being done, man. It's wings and hoodies.
I mean, like the Magic City night, this whole thing for me, what it boils down to, bro, like it's about Luke Kornet choosing this issue to stand up and talk about and write a Substack essay about. With everything going on right now, this is the issue that is so near and dear to your heart that you had to write a Substack essay about it and that you've made a big fuss about. Like, are you serious? Like, it's like an inability to read the room, right? You know what I mean? And also, you guys hit on it too. Like, bro, I don't heard too many people that are from Atlanta be like, yo, I go to Magic City and I don't even look at the women. I just go get the food. I just go get wings. Like, that is just the thing I do. It's like a restaurant. It's an experience. People say when you go down there, like, yo, I hear people talk about it and they're like, yo, like they're not talking about the women. It ain't like you going to Onyx. Like, you go to this spot and it's like, bro, I'm here to get this food though. Like, cause I hear these wings are to die for. Right. And that is literally what people do. Like, it is a spot they go to communally for the food, almost what it sounds like, which is crazy for your strip joint to be known for the food, for the wings, right? More so than anything else. Right. So with that in mind, and then you've got this player who's white speaking out about it as if like they were going to bring strippers to the game, which obviously wasn't going to happen. Right. It's just it's odd. It's very, it's very off-putting, right? Because it's like, like you don't even really know what you're talking about. Like, what it is, what it represents is so much more to that community than just some strip joint. It's not, we're not talking about like this that way. It's not, they're not looking at it like that way. Like, this is a spot where everybody in Atlanta has been there, right? A lot of people have been there and they go there for the food. It is a communal spot. That's what it became. And it became that haphazardly. It wasn't supposed to be that, but that's what it became. It's a part of the fabric of the city. And so they're honoring that fabric of the city for what it means to them. And it's not just about, ass everywhere. It ain't, that's not what it is. Right. And so to make it sound like that is like you're misinformed. You didn't speak to anybody before you chose to make this a big deal. And again, why is this the thing you are going to get up on your soapbox about? Why is this thing that's so important to you that you feel the need to, did you feel that way when Miles Bridges beat that girl to hell a couple of years ago and he's back playing in the NBA? Did you write your subject essay about that? Did you write your subject essay about Terry Rozier, and the gambling stuff and Chauncey Billups and the gambling stuff and how that's a big problem for the game? Did you write the essay about Giannis being a partner with Kalshi? Did you do that? Announcing his partnership with no shame, an active player being a partner with a gambling brand? Did we have a conversation about that? I don't think so. I don't think he was ever. He had nothing to say. He had no problem with that. But you had the problem with this. That's odd. That's just odd to me. And again, man, like people have had this reaction, obviously, about like this is the thing he's going to complain about, and I see it all over the place. But the more you think about it, the crazier it is. It's insane. It's insane. Like that this is the thing that threw you over the edge, that made you speak up, right? Because we never hear from Luke Kornet, and we're hearing from him now about this. This is not like an offensive thing. They're not going to expose kids to strippers at the game. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not that. So it's just a weird thing, man. It's indicative of where we are as a society. Unfortunately, it is, right? Because you kind of want to pick and choose when you want to be the social justice hero, and it's a lot of times it's misinformed and all that stuff. But here we are, man. It's sad. It's sad more than anything else. Because he didn't even like look into it. That you could tell he didn't look into it.
Yeah, so a couple things with that too. It's a part of the documentary that's being done, unbeknownst, obviously to him, that's being done for, I think, surrounding Atlanta Hawks and just the Atlanta area. You talk about Atlanta, you talking about Magic City. That's one. Two, I just saw this now, looking at it as an article. According to this article, Al Horford agreed. So it's not just Luke Kornet. Al Horford posted a screenshot of his soliloquy saying, "Well said." So maybe it's a thing where some people are in agreement. I just don't think people are well informed of what it's supposed to be. Like I said, it would be different if it was actually the strippers going to be there, but it's the spot in Jersey that I went to before I got married. Me and my boys would go to this spot called Breathless in Rahway. I would sit at the bar and eat some really good food. Really, really good food. I wasn't paying $25, $30 for a 3-minute dance. It's never been my thing. It's never been my thing. Way too expensive. Waste of time. But the food, they will find me at the bar. I'll be at the bar. And I've told my wife, next time we in Atlanta, I got to get the wings. I got to try these wings that everybody is talking about. The food in general, I got to try it. I don't care. It's never been my thing to see cheeks and nipples and all that swinging around and sweat. It's never been my thing. It don't faze me. It don't turn me on. The food, though, you told me you got some good wings? Hey, holla at your boy.
Hey,
so
I know it ain't the same thing, but Al Horford coming in sitting on his high horse too. Your sister was literally doing an F, marry, kill game with your teammates on Twitter a couple of years ago. I remember all that, and you had nothing to say either. I know it ain't the same. I know that, I get it. You got to handle that internally, maybe. That's how you should do it. But his sister's embarrassed the more times he can count on the social media. But again, like Tone, like I don't know, bro. I mean, no one speaks out about anything halfway important anymore. This is the thing you want to speak out about. Everything going on in this world right now, and that is the thing you should speak out about. It's right. And you ask them, like, can you cancel it? Can you cancel the promotional evening? Who the hell are you? Luke, who the hell? Who is Luke Kornet? Like, I know who you are, but like, to even make the request, like you're somebody.
Yo, I looked it up to see, bro. He's not even from the area. He from Lexington, Kentucky.
Which makes you know what it is. Then thank you. You know what it is.
Went to Vanderbilt. Went to Vanderbilt, and you know where he also went to school?
Where?
He went to school with Ibn at Liberty Christian School.
Oh God. It all makes sense. It all makes sense. I should have looked into him before I even had this segment. That makes a lot of sense.
Hey, the NBA is not stepping in. So
Like,
I think the NBA did enough research and due diligence.
They would have flagged it.
yeah.
They would have flagged it if they were over here. Oh, whoa. You're bringing strippers to the game? No. Y'all got to do Pride Night or something. Like, they would have changed it.
Dude, the last thing people talk about is the strippers you talk about Magic City. It's the last thing people talk about.
Right.
Like, this is the craziest
But that's
part.
the thing. None of these guys go into anything political because that goes against what some of the fans agree with. Like, whatever their views are, it could, the fans aren't going to like it. So everybody
and their teammates.
Neutral. Yeah, and the teammates. So everybody stays neutral. They don't unless they're in the locker room, they don't let it be known to the public what their views are. But he'll speak out on this. But hey,
but these times,
Minnesota.
In these times, bro. That's to your point. In these times, those situations, this is not like before. Like, obviously, there's always been people that's on either side of the aisle, right? But in these times, this is not the time where if you're on one side of the aisle, that you're talking about that in the locker room. That might not go too well in the locker room. You might have to keep that to yourself.
It's Splinter's locker room. We don't see it in baseball. It's Splinter's locker room. They'll split your joint right in half. But again, spineless. Like, you're sitting here talking about this. I already know who you are. I know who Luke Kornet is, though. I know where you went to school. I know how you feel about things based on where you went to school. I know exactly what kind of person you are, what exactly your angle is, right? And where you stand on stuff, right? I mean, if you were so big into women empowerment, if this is about women empowerment and all that stuff, and you don't want to celebrate them doing a job that you feel is degrading, then I don't see you speaking about. You didn't write no Substack essay about the WNBA and their issues they have about money and all that stuff. That's not what this is.
Or the U.S. hockey team getting slandered by Trump and all that. He didn't speak out on that. So,
but I'm sure he would. But Miles, I'm sure on the side of that, I'm sure he would have wrote a beautiful article about the men's team's choice to go hang out with him and show up and be at the State of the Union. He probably felt all warm and cozy about that, man. Bro, it's crazy, bro.
And just a double to even add more specifically with the Spurs team, Wemby has spoken out on some of these issues. You're a leader, so you can't. He may very well be on the side of that person probably did something wrong for the police, for ICE to act the way that they acted. He may very well have those views, but when a team where your leader is outright spoken saying this is wrong, he can't say that in that locker room. So this could be the issue. Wemby ain't from here. Wemby probably don't give a darn about, like most players, don't give a darn about Magic City Night. This would be my one thing that I could speak up on, and I won't be at least canceled in my locker room.
Yep. It says everything, though.
DeAndre
Ayton's lucky we didn't make it in tonight. That's all I'm going to say, too. We're at an hour and a half. But DeAndre Ayton's very lucky we didn't make it in tonight. We'll have another conversation a different day, I guess. But we're lucky. He's lucky.
Yeah, well, he got.
He didn't play?
Nah, man. I'm just talking about how he's sorry, essentially. In every sense.
Yeah, we'll touch on that. He got spared tonight. But y'all know the vibes here at the BME Podcast. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. Benchmark, we out. Peace.